And we should be live with Endeavor's audio now. Wait, can you guys hear Endeavor right now? No, they can't hear you on your own stream.
Fuck.
Okay, we're just getting that fixed.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the V2 Marathon. I hope you guys are ready to experience the Speedfest RNG-filled fourth wall breaking speedrun marathon. We're going to be starting things off with something that's anti-speed. And before we start, we're actually going to give a little history of it. And I'll let DeBomb lead the way there on what New Game Amateur exactly is and what I meant by anti-speed.
So, New Game Amateur is of course the fastest category in Fairy Fencer, although it's also DLC difficulty, so it's a little artificial in a way. And we started it off with a big race because that's how a lot of these things get started when they're slightly more mean categories. It's like, okay, let's race amateur, new game first Fairy Fencer because no one has come up with a decent route for any of the like on disc or real difficulties yet, and it's easy enough to just stomp your way for amateur. And so an hour later, Aaron got the first record for the category with something like 55 minutes or a little less, maybe more like 45. But then after that, I routed it a little more seriously and got it toned down to about 45 minutes. And so it rested for, I think, about a year, maybe a little longer. And then eventually the other higher difficulties got routed in, so that stuff was able to be moved back to amateur, and now the time is just under 40 minutes. However, as Endeavor can now go on about, this version is not on the same scale, shall we say.
The same company who ported this Advent Dark Force to the PC, Ghostlight, it wasn't a good PC port either. Crash and just overall slower on most sections while being faster on some as well. You would think, giving them a second chance to port it over to another console, after the success of another Switch port from a PS4 game, which was Disgaea 5, it ended up being the faster to speed run from the PS4 and Switch versions. We had plenty of hopes, and they were all crushed at the sight of dungeon lag every time you entered a dungeon until all the enemies spawned. Bunch of ghosting effects where lighting from previous dungeons would carry over to the next dungeon. Some dungeons missing lights, period. Dashing is laggy. It's overall fine for your casual, but for speed running you lose quite a lot of time. It's an interesting watch when you compare it to the PS4. And then they decided to update it. Blew everyone's minds. ADF Factory never does that. I didn't think they would do it for a Switch game. But they made it worse, because now every time you enter a dungeon, the whole dungeon has to load before you can even move. They fixed some of the ghosting and some of the lighting, but you will still see some lighting and ghosting problems throughout the run. The dash is still lagging. But yeah, that's basically it. I would suggest if anyone is interested in running this game, do not do the Switch version. And I will be ready to go in just a moment.
I'll give you a countdown, and then I'll wait for you to actually start on my screen and start the bet and start the timer. So, are you ready right now? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I was on the wrong menu. It only lost like 2 seconds. So.
Yeah, well, I waited for you anyway, so that's fine. So we're underway with
Let's go.
Fairy Fencer Switch. Boy oh boy.
Stop resisting. Not over. Stay
I
down.
did that in the practice too. All the cutscenes and tutorial. That little now loading at the bottom right, your character cannot move until that is gone. Look at that leg. Beautiful, juicy leg.
Let's go. Get ready. Next. Stop resisting. Get ready. Stay down.
Now the dash mechanic in this game,
Get ready.
you can basically set it to where you will dash whenever you press the L2 button, or you can have it to just hold down the L2 button and you'll dash continuously. The better option, although you can just do just whatever you're feeling most comfortable with, that's unfortunate.
Get ready. Stay down.
I choose to just to hold it down. In the PS4 version,
Let's do this. Next. Stop resisting.
you have a lot less lag, to no lag at all. But in this version, I am going the wrong way. You have frames between every dash, and it makes getting around enemies incredibly difficult in a game that's already pretty difficult to avoid enemies in the first place.
Ready?
Basically what we're doing this first dungeon here is we gotta kill a couple of the guards wearing the black uniforms because they are holding a key
Next.
that we need to open the next jail cell. Section of the jail, I guess. We can skip that one there, but we have to kill the rest of them. But now, after doing that, those couple of fights, we're basically home free.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Hey, hello? Why was I stuck there? Hitboxes, please. Basically, in this fight, we're just going to be defending
This is freaking annoying. Brace yourself. Let's do this.
by forgetting what the defend button is.
Let's do this.
Let us begin.
Get ready. Let's go. Get ready.
Yeah, Amateur doesn't have too many actual difficult fights, thankfully. Well, thankfully, depending on your interpretation.
Definitely nothing difficult in the first half, anyway.
Yeah, although some things have to be routed around later on. And the whole reason I got yelled at by Endeavor when he finally started learning my new route, and suddenly there was like twice as much menuing, if not more. But it makes a lot of the problem fights a lot easier.
Sorry to
actually
interrupt
do some
you,
menuing.
but look at this beautiful, beautiful fuzziness.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. The pixels, dude.
Out of my way.
You can continue.
Get ready.
No. Well, yeah, that was basically the summary of it. When Endeavor finally learned the sub 40-minute PS4 route over the last week, it was like, why is there so much menuing for Amateur? And I mean, it's a fair complaint because Amateur is so easy. You'd think that menuing would just be a complete waste, but even in this easy of a category, you can still benefit by doing more menuing, oddly enough. And that was that, and eventually he just learned it, and then here we are. Though you don't get to see too much new stuff for quite a while. The start's pretty much the same as it always has been for amateur, just kill everything with your basic skills.
For anyone unfamiliar with Fairy Fencer, this is basically go to a dungeon, go back to the city, talk to a character to buy some information, then go back to the next dungeon, the video game. That's pretty much all you do.
He's just got his first Fury, or powered up his first Fury with his first Fairy, and this one gives a slight XP boost, which makes a fairly negligible difference, but you may as well pick it over the other ones which are even more useless. It's more important in other difficulties where you need a certain amount of SP to be able to even win a certain fight, and so you'd need extra levels.
Whenever
Later on,
you
we'll
see
get a
me,
second one. Yeah.
whenever you see me slow down instead of dash through the enemies, that is me attempting to take an easier route around the enemy because I will be thinking that the lag dashing will get an encounter. That will fail a lot of times, but it will save me from quite a few fights. I'll also be taking the long way around enemies, which will lose time normally, but if they're in a bad location, there's really not much you can do. It wastes more time to get into a counter than it would just to go the long way around.
Out of my way.
Too many noirs. How sad, Seafresh, how sad.
Getting more information. Going to another dungeon. The video game.
Such as Fairy Fencer.
The incredibly long loading
Tuning
screen.
games are any different.
Woohoo! That one's really hard to avoid no matter how you take it.
In Neptunia games,
What?
you generally just get the information
dude!
first in the next dungeon
Okay.
in the cutscene, while in this game you of course go to Lola every time to get your information. And so that's where that whole information meme comes from.
Let's go, Chewie. My turn.
Ow, whoops. Didn't mean to do that.
Next.
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Next.
Plus, another thing to note, I am using the Switch Pro controller, and it is rather uncomfortable to skip a lot of cutscenes with this thing. This game was not meant for a cutscene skipping controller. So I recommend people attempt
Don't let your guard down.
the Joy-Cons
not
once they
play-
become better.
The Switch
Let's do this.
Yeah, or just not play the game in the first
Version.
place.
like play the PC version if you have to. It's nowhere near as bad as this. It's still better to play PS4 if at all
dude.
possible.
Yourself. I'm ready. It's all
It's a good thing you don't really have to do any skills in this dungeon.
It's all now. It's all
The game actually still works like it's meant to on PC, it just has longer loads and occasionally crashes. But
Oh, yeah.
the frame rate is what's actually possible on PC.
You'll be seeing me, that reminded me, you'll be seeing me save every couple of dungeons too. Because while practicing the game I did find that this game will crash too. And it will crash without giving you a screen.
Get ready.
It will just kind of sit there forever. Which is the worst kind of crash.
Let's do this.
my turn.
Let's do
I'm
this.
ready.
Oh my god, they've already made this a meme.
So I'll be saving right here.
HDNMarathon just can't live without memes.
Nope, it's blood. No! We're going Goddess Revival %.
Oh yes. That is what happens in every run of this game. Or
Yeah,
not every run, but too many good runs of this game have lost time to that nonsense.
Yep, it's even worse on this version because every menu in this game is about 3 to 4 times laggier than the PS4 version.
Hmm.
Let's go.
So I told Endeavor, I was like, yeah, so those new menus that you got annoyed with, there should only be like 20-second menus and there are like 5 of them, and he's like, well, no, I think those are 1-minute menus.
Yep.
And he's not kidding. And they really do take 20 seconds on PS4. There's a slight factor of me being the one to make the menus and I do them a little quicker, but the Switch is just such an overbearing factor that there really is that much of a difference.
Back in the very first release version of this game, this was one of the dungeons that suffered a very humongous lighting problem. It was really dark and had a lot of ghosting. In the second timeline of this dungeon, fudge! That hasn't happened in a long time. But the second timeline version of this dungeon had no light. You just kind of had to know what the dungeon looked like to get to where you're going. Because it wasn't due to the dungeon having no light, it was due to the ghosting from the last dungeon completely covering the screen. And there was nothing you can do about it, except finish the dungeon.
Don't let your guard down. My turn.
Whoops.
Stay down.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
My turn.
The double poison.
Oh boy, it's almost like this fight is
Oh,
actually
wait.
threatening.
Actually, it wasn't double. Whoops. I lied.
It's just Tiara getting poisoned and Tiara getting poisoned again. Or something like that. Whatever, either way.
And we're coming up on the first menu. We're gonna
So
see
this
how
menu,
fast
we
I
set
can
up
do it.
the OP skills. Well, the most OP skills you have access to at this point in the game. There's one for Fang and one for Harley. You also get a magic for Tiara, but that isn't as crucial as the other two.
I apologize in advance for extremely slow menuing.
I am not fussed at all. We can just blame the Switch version and we would not be wrong. And... okay.
I did it right that time. Where was it? Which one? Okay. Okay, that's all.
Out of my way.
This is what happens when you have 6 games.
New data.
You gotta keep the memory too. I used the wrong stuff. Oh well,
See my new data.
It's fine.
it's fine.
On easy, even just easy in this game is 40% harder. Or like it's actually like 80% harder
Oh.
if you compare it to amateur. But like,
Let's do this.
you have
I'm ready. New data.
Get ready.
at normal, which is normal stats, like 1 times stats. You have,
Out of my way. Let's do this.
then you have easy, which is 90% stats. Then you have amateur, which is 50% stats. So,
Get ready. Now.
easy is actually 80% higher than
Stay down.
amateur if you compare from amateur to easy.
Get ready. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's
This section is pretty much just a gauntlet of a bunch of fights in a row.
So the point is basically that
get ready.
this game is a lot easier on amateur by pretty much any definition.
Somehow that split was faster than my PB.
And yes, of course, VODs will be available again. Or will be available. There, you can go back and look at it right now from the past broadcasts and we will highlight them as soon as the marathon is over.
We're gonna have another gauntlet here because gauntlets are fun.
Yeah, and this is just 4 scrub battles, which you use 1 flame assault in their combo, or whatever really. You can do whatever you want. I'm not sure exactly what your strategy. Yeah, you're doing roughly what I said.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Even this is the exact same strat that you do on every other difficulty as well. It's just that easy it takes less combos,
Stay down.
and you don't have any risk of dying. Whereas on normal difficulty, you can have to heal here.
Now we get the fan service section where you're forced to control Tiara.
I guess upskirt percent.
And here's the first dark dungeon. Where, depending on your television, you kind of have to know what the dungeon looks like. But thankfully I have my brightness settings up. I don't know how it looks on the stream.
Is this really going to be the whole chat, the whole category? I mean, the whole run?
Let's go, eh?
I mean, you're probably not wrong, guys, considering
My way. Get ready. Who wants to
how
do
well
this?
this game is running right now, but do we have to do it all run? So now he's setting the Furies.
These
He's
aren't
setting the Fury on
optimal.
Fang though.
Yeah, they're not optimal, but just setting Furious here because notes say to.
What? You just set them on the wrong people, but whatever, it's fine.
I know that's why I said they're not optimal.
Let's do this.
Here we go.
I mean, you give Fang one, which is called PSX, and it gives increased fire damage and increased sword damage,
Whoops.
which happens to be his element.
Stay down.
And you give Tiara one called Sail, which is increased water damage, which happens to be her element, so those just generally work out well. Tiara or Sail also, at later levels, because the fairies can level up as well, they take the same experience that characters do. And when you level up Sail to higher levels, he also reduces your SP usage. I'm not sure if that ever plays into the amateur run, but it does play into the easy run slightly. For Fang, it's just nice having the double boost of both fire and sword.
Let's do this. Get ready.
Here we go.
Hitting encounters is unfortunate because even on amateur you're under-leveled
I'm ready.
compared to the enemies because they give the same amount of experience as they do on every other difficulty. Unlike Death End, which is the next game, where that completely changes. But yeah, in this game you get the same experience on every difficulty, so despite this being amateur, you still have a lower level value than pretty much all the enemies. And even their halved speed can sometimes make you fail to run.
Overall, pretty decent, other than the first
My turn.
area.
Other than the dashing straight into an enemy at the start, yes.
Yep.
Get ready.
So Eiffel,
New data.
Tiara
Here.
can't do too much. Galdo does very slightly more, and Fang and Harley are your main two attackers.
Here we go.
Fang in particular.
Let's go, eh?
Harley,
It's over.
Gaia Spear is pretty good, but I mean, he didn't use it there and it only took one more turn, so it's fine. Navy is actually an even better Water Fury, but Sail you get earlier.
Yeah, DeBomb will point out all the mistakes because I sadly didn't learn any of the fights.
Yeah, it's only going to matter a lot later on if he makes a menuing mistake. Early on, I mean, like this, in this part, he can get away with doing pretty much anything
Get ready.
with it being amateur, but later fights are a little more cutthroat, so I will try and make sure that things don't go too badly wrong in late game to make sure that the run completes smoothly.
Back in the, I'm going to be mentioning 1.0 a couple of times, but back in 1.0, this was the worst dungeon that of the lag until all enemies were loaded. You would be walking slow and lagging for at least half of the first room. Thankfully, this is one of the dungeons that actually benefited from the new not moving until loading screen is done, because that's actually faster.
Don't let your guard down.
Let us begin. Let's do
I'm
this.
ready. Here we go. Score.
That was faster than I've ever done it, I think.
Go, Huey.
No, probably not.
Here I come. Let's do this.
My turn.
Yeah, 20 minutes and we nearly reached the... You learned the wrong skill on Shimmer, didn't you?
I see.
It doesn't matter, but you did again.
Someone died.
Did someone? Oh, Tiara died, rip. Thankfully, Tiara is not even one of the main attackers in Easy. I mean in Amateur. In Easy, she's more important. But in Amateur, you only really care about Fang in this part of the game, and then 2 characters you get later.
Time to have Sherman falsely join your team just for him to go away the next cutscene. At least you get a bunch of free towels, am I right?
Oh boy, oh boy. Just
Gotta-
what we always needed.
Gotta have all the male and female characters in towels.
Yeah.
It is an Idea Factory game at heart.
So, welcome to Tower Hell.
For people who love encounters, this is your best friend.
Yeah. Dodging encounters in this place is kind of a skill, but it's also a lot of luck.
It's also nearly impossible on the Switch to get a dodge-free dungeon.
Yeah, like, you feel good if you get a encounter-free subterranean tower on the PS4 or PC versions. In this game, you feel you don't feel because it's impossible. Well, not quite impossible, but
Yeah, if you do it like
Bad.
optimally without really like slowing down, just throw yourself a party. You deserve it.
oh yeah, Endeavor might get encounterless here. It's possible. It's just really, really unlikely.
Nope. That bird noticed me from a
Yeah.
mile away.
Let's do this.
And there we go. This is why this place is fun. And he failed to run. Like I said, even on Amateur, that can happen. It's a lot less likely once you do get a certain character who becomes one of your main party members, who we've already killed in this timeline. Rip Eiffel.
Freebie.
But-
Whenever you see radar or enemies on the radar that are yellow, with something like outside of their circle, they are freebie enemies because they basically have no AI to go after you.
Yeah, you can still run into them yourself though, and you will encounter them if you hit them. And
Yeah.
that does happen from time to time. But
They can walk into you, but not on purpose.
you just have to be careful of their pattern.
Yeah, if we have a one encounter, this will actually be pretty dang good. But the worst enemies to dodge are coming up though. Oh god, he's looking at me. Whew.
That
Okay.
bird you can kind of do a safe strat to get around if you like go... Like the platform you spawn on, you can kind of go backwards on it a bit and then fall off later and get past the bird easier that way. I don't know why. No
So
one else
close.
apart from me actually does that, and I don't know why, but
Let's do this.
it does sort of work. But
I
either
try-
way, this sandwich of 2 enemies is worse anyways.
Yeah, I tried to copy, but the bird was in a bad spot.
Yeah, sometimes the bird will just be in a bad spot as well, and he can block you even if you do my strat. It's just way less likely. And yep, running from encounters in Subterranean Tower. Gotta love it.
A golden opportunity. Here we go.
So this is an unwinnable. Every unwinnable is unwinnable, even on Amateur, because they have like 999 health, and halving that, half of infinity is still infinity. There is one exception for the New Game Plus run only, where there is a boss that you normally aren't meant to be able to kill, but if you have high enough levels on New Game Plus, you can. And it gives 5 million gold, and instantly part is one of the achievements that the game has. And you're forgetting something. Or several things. Hello?
Yeah. I was ignoring my notes, so no. I see it now.
So now we get the second and final Fury in the game. Well, we're getting Furies all the time, but this is the second and final one that we actually load with a Fairy. So there's this thing, a skill that 2 of the fairies have.
I did the wrong thing! Oh well.
You're probably fine still. 2 of the fairies have and can give you, it's called damage times 2, and it does exactly what the name implies. It doubles all damage. But that means that you deal double damage and take double damage. Luckily for New Game Amateur, 2 times 0 is still 0. Just like I was talking about the enemy health. You can abuse that for damage times 2 as well. The fact that you have double damage doesn't mean that their pathetic stats are going to deal actual damage to you. And so you can get away with using damage times 2 pretty much everywhere without too much risk.
Lag!
You still use damage times 2 even on higher difficulties because it's way too useful to not use, but you have to play way more carefully on those higher difficulties as well. On this, you just kind of get away with it. So we'll go ahead and set up our 3 most powerful members for the time being, which is Sherman, Pippin, and Galdo, because they're the 3 that joined the latest. And then fight this damage times Fury fight, which is slightly high on HP for a fight this late on, or this early on. So these enemies do sometimes live a hit.
And they can confuse you.
But there's still no real trouble here. Just use your strongest skills and wipe them out.
Here we go!
Here I come. How was that?
And there you go, the Fury comes and we get damage times 2, and then we start using damage times 2 on every dungeon from now on.
I hit the wrong button.
After we go back into the God Revival once more, of course.
Yeah, I hope you guys like that music. Oh, we can't do that there.
Let's go! Here I come.
Here we go!
Get ready. It's my turn.
My turn.
Wait, do we not have damage times 2 active, or are you just using really bad skills?
Here I come. How was that?
'Cause this is taking forever.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have damage times 2.
Oh.
You can probably just go through and win anyway, but I would suggest turning it on before you fight the Mariana at the end of the next
Give
dungeon.
my all. Here I come.
Here we go!
Oh, your notes have you walk out of the dungeon anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, do that.
My turn. Who's next?
Oh, you
I
might
blame-
be slightly low on SP actually.
I blame the exhaustion.
Oh well.
Yep.
Like I said, you can get away with pretty much anything on amateur for the first half, and then some parts of the second half as well. Eventually it'll start punishing you if you make too many mistakes.
Go!
So.
Here I come.
My turn.
I'll just do these simple combos.
Here I come.
Or the simple skills.
Let's go, eh?
Yeah, try and keep as much HP as possible for Bernard.
Plan for victory!
Here I come.
Here we go!
Oh yeah, you might need to heal Pippin next if you have anything to heal him with.
Here we go.
Oh shit. Ooh. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Oh, you can just use a combo, yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh, it went to Sherman. Whatever, it's fine. Just use your combo. It didn't deal that little of damage. Oh jeez. Defense fine as long as you can still win. Which I think, yeah, you can. Yeah, all good. So go ahead
Loading!
and leave the dungeon as soon as it loads. And set the dash ties to Fury here. Preferably set both of them, I guess. But one's
were-
fine. No, that's
you-
fine.
You were a
Fine.
bit too late on that.
No, you're fine anyway. I was wrong actually. You only need one for most of the dungeons here. Anyway, I will be right back while Endeavor does the end of this timeline and the start of the next one, which are both pretty simple.
Don't let your
There
guard
is
down.
one small little menu to learn a few skills.
Get ready. Die.
Ready?
Here I come.
But he'll get through that pretty quickly. Yeah, so yeah, be right back.
Here I come.
Ready? My turn.
Ready at one.
And here we are, a very familiar looking dungeon.
Ready? Get ready. Let's do this.
Oh boy, the lag is real, dude.
Forget. Let's do this. Get ready. Let's do this.
Let me run.
Let's do this. Next. Let's do this. Stay down. Let's do this.
I can't. Oh god, this game. Are you kidding? I'm trapped. Ugh. That can happen sometimes too.
Out of my way. Let's do this. Stay down. Out of my way. Get ready.
Okay, so did we remember to have a menu here? Doesn't particularly matter, but it was a thing.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, as long as you do it like straight after, it's completely fine. And Tiara didn't even die. Sometimes she can die there if the fight takes
I
too long.
remember the double fury. I just forgot the menu.
Yeah. So we get Tiara's Maelstrom skill and Fang's Explosion skill, which are both really big AoE. In fact, Maelstrom hits the entire screen, guaranteed,
Oh, okay.
while Explosion is just a big circle that comes out from in front of Fang. You also get Fang's Backtrack skill, which is like a free eject button, or as the skin calls in Returnlings, as long as you have access to magic and you have something like 10 SP. And you also buy full revive on Tiara, which is basically just a safety net. Ideally in an amateur run you'd never use it, but you might
What?
occasionally have need for it. That is quite an amazing miss.
Yeah, that should have hit, but you know, whatever. The game doesn't want to work sometimes.
How
They changed the PSA, huh?
They seem to have not given up on this meme yet.
Your mic is now on fire. Screw my Switch.
Everything is on fire, Monka is.
I mean, I am inside of a volcano.
Okay, fair enough. The meme is allowed while he's in this volcano.
Yeah, but once I leave, you guys better quit and think about what you've done, misters and misses. God bless.
ready?
Let's do this.
My turn.
That's what I get for trying to be a parent.
But I can't start now.
So the two, well, use an explosion like 3 times. One of these times is immediately now.
Next. Let's do this.
Where you can use it to hit every enemy on the field at once and instantly Fair Eyes, and then use your ultimate skill to end that fight immediately. Otherwise that fight can be a little bit of a pain. Just because it has 4 enemies.
Whoops. Unnecessary cutscene.
Oh no, how sad.
Shit, where am I going? Oh, yeah.
So next up is the second use of the explosion skill. You want to do Furies here though. Do not forget the Furies on the characters. Or fairies actually. Furies are the ones you stab.
Oh, the notes don't say anything about them here.
Just chuck Yura onto Fang and Sail onto Tiara and you're good. Yura is the best fire booster in the game. And Sail is the one we were using on Tiara earlier, or meant to be using on Tiara earlier, but it's fine. It got leveled up on Harley instead.
This is freaking annoying.
And that's just a nice water booster.
Let's do
My
this.
turn.
The first phase is unwinnable, you have to wait like 10 turns total, and enemy turns count as well.
Don't let your guard down.
And then the second one, you're trying to nuke it with Explosion plus Maelstrom, and hopefully that kills immediately. Sometimes it doesn't.
My turn.
Came pretty close, but you can just finish it off with basic skills, no problem. That fight is a lot more threatening on any other difficulty than Amateur, but I mean you can say that about pretty much any fight in this game. But that is one of the fights that can easily kill you on higher difficulties. Because you play it really cutthroat with damage times 2 and only 2 party members. So now it's time for Dad. Not actually Dad, but the closest thing this game has to a father figure in Apollonius.
You mean
Even though he's not
Top
really that
tier
much older than
character.
you, I don't think. Yeah, so he'll just be dead in this run, because he only joins you if you're over leveled as all hell. In the original Fairy Fence you had to reach level 40 before this point in the game basically to recruit him, and that took forever. In Advent Dark Force they nerfed it to 35, but that's still way above what level we are right now. So
I didn't like
athletics
those
is
enemy
fine.
positions.
Well, you got free regardless. So you just take your time and dodge the enemies, and it's generally faster than getting into encounters.
A golden opportunity. My turn.
Brace yourself.
Here we go.
This is no use.
I'm ready.
Whatever. That was unfortunate, but it can happen.
And there you go, there's backtrack being used instead of return wing.
I hope he specifically didn't have a lot of experience to give.
Who did?
Apollonius.
Oh, you forgot
Are you
the
ready?
XP Furies. Whatever.
No, Fang died.
Oh, it should still be fine. I mean, we'll see what happens. And one of the hardest fights in the game is not this one, not the next one, but the one after that, so... we'll see what happens to that damage range.
I haven't been saving. I'll just save after this dungeon and before.
Risk
Coming
it,
up
bit of
fight.
risk it.
Whoa, that placement. I went the wrong way anyway, so whoops.
Oh dear. This is the placement, alright.
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Get ready.
My turn.
At least pretend you're gonna try to run away, game.
So later on you'll get to see me going through pretty much the same run except on PS4 with some added parts. And those added parts involve getting items around these enemies, and it makes dodging them even more fun. Although I do get the advantage of not having lag dash. That sort of makes up for it.
Out of my way.
But anyways, that's the story for tomorrow. For today, we are dealing with the Switch version and its epicness.
Let's do this.
My turn. I'm ready.
And this guy actually does sort of hurt and still has kind of a lot of HP even on amateur, but
My turn.
you can generally be fine
Next.
by just spamming strong skills. And now we're done with a lot of the dungeons, so
It
we
looked
can
like
put
it
that thing to
crashed.
bed now.
Get ready.
I'm ready.
We could.
I never. Let us.
Again?
Just use full revive.
This
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, the AoE. Oh wow.
Am I fine? Is the run over? Okay, I'm fine. I forgot it does this. Oh god, I hate this game.
Yeah, if you touch a save point at all in this game, it respawns you from the save point, and if you don't, then it will respawn you from the start of the dungeon. Which is still a bit of a walk back, but not the end of the world. Unfortunately, in a multi-floor dungeon, it does mean you go all the way back to the start, and not to the start of the second floor. But you can just touch the save point this time and it'll be fine.
Now that was a cheap encounter.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a bit of a backwhack.
My turn.
Because the dash
Okay.
didn't start instantly.
Yeah, so Apollonius used his like strong attack, EXE, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember exactly what they call it in this game, but he used it twice in a row. And it's also got like a small AoE. So the first time he actually managed to hit 2 people with it. That's pretty much the only way you can die on amateur, is to getting nuked by the enemy's strongest attacks. Because pretty much anything else will not do much damage at all.
These enemies, man. Just wait it out, just wait it out.
These ones are a pain even on PS4.
Let's do this. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Win his first try running.
Alright, so touch
Oh, I
the
thought that was
save
a
point
save
if you
point.
still get the chance.
Oops. The amount
This is
the amount of fuzziness made that item look like a save point.
Hey, you don't actually need to save, by the way, you just have to touch the point in this game. It's the most forgiving game in that regard. So we can still go fast and play safe by just touching it instead of...
Oh, please stop attacking Fang! There's other characters!
Yeah, you need to delay a turn before you use your EXE move to avoid that happening.
Let's do this. Next.
See, I know you can do not strong attacks.
Also for Apollonius, just don't attack as much on the first turn and then go hard on the second turn to be safe, but
I used the wrong move. Whoa!
Know your place.
should
I
still be
swear
okay, maybe?
to Jesus,
Okay, this time actually just use for revive.
too late.
Or too late. Okay, so this will be interesting now. You're doing Zinc, the 1v1 boss, quite a bit underleveled. It should still be winnable, but it might be more dodgy than usual. We'll see if you can hit the damage range. So for now we need to use both Furies here. To make sure that the
I hate
damage range
doing
is as
this.
good as possible.
There we go.
Yep, success. Okay, so... And also touch the save point nearby him, of course.
Are you ready?
I'm losing brain cells to bomb.
This is called the enemy is being fun,
Interesting.
and not fun at all.
Care to see my true power?
This was the dungeon that was most affected by the ghosting in version 1.0. You literally could not just see anywhere, and you would just have to hope you're going in the right direction.
Yep, pretty much.
They fixed the ghosting, but not the lighting problem.
Okay, save point and save point. Okay, so now he will respawn at the save point if he dies, which is quite likely because of the underlevel, but we'll see.
Okay. My notes say 100 skill, fair eyes, serious face. I don't have enough health.
Yeah, you need the high potion. You quite often don't have enough health. That's why you have the one high potion that the game guaranteed drops. And did we kill? Okay, we killed. So that's one of the hardest fights in the game down. Now it's back on cruise control for a bit. You will eventually have another hard fight, but it's not for a while.
We're getting my favorite character in
Yeah.
this dungeon.
Also, one of the most strongest characters in the game, at least for speedruns, is Ethel. She kind of gets a bit of a leg up in that she joins at level 40, which is way higher level than any other character you've got right now.
Woo.
So that's part of it, but her skills are also extremely powerful.
This dungeon, for some reason, only in the second timeline. The first timeline is a lot less, but in the second timeline, this dungeon, whenever you have like a lighting on the screen for a moment and then you move away from that lighting, you will see that dot in that position for a few seconds. That is the clearest way of seeing the ghosting effect.
New data.
Forgetting what buttons to press because the Switch controller is amazing. What am I doing? I'm butchering the fight, that's what I'm doing.
Kill.
Whatever works, works.
Yep. Okay, I want Fang to know that he can guarantee the kill. There we go.
Tiara's
Tiara's...
died again, but she's basically not useful anymore. So who really cares?
Oh, are you kidding me? That was my fault.
Nice stab.
I was in a hurry to try and save time.
And apparently Discord user list is showing people twice right now. Cool. Good software.
Best software. Oh! Okay, whew.
Anyway, Random Observation Society is in the tower again. It's still just as shitty to dodge encounters in as the last time. The only difference is that this time you have Ethel and she is a lot more reliable at running away. Because of her high level that we talked about before.
Oh dear. I want to try it! Woohoo! No! Oh!
Oh, almost. Oh no, you got it, cool.
That was clutch. Can't believe I pulled one of those Z clutches. Oh no. Just as I was gloating about myself. That almost happened. My heart jumped a little bit, I'll admit it.
Now Pippin will burst down with strong skills and then it's pretty much the last major menu in the game
Whoa,
afterwards.
dude, we just had an encounterless. That will never happen again.
A golden opportunity.
After Pippin, we actually recruit Pippin, and Pippin is the third strong physical attacker that you have access to.
Fire. Let's go. My turn.
In
I'm bursting with new data.
any difficulty other than easy, the enemies do a bit too much physical damage, so what we end up doing is setting up to use magic attacks instead. But on amateur, with the enemies not hurting too much, you can set up to use strong physical attacks instead. You still need magic for a couple of reasons, but you get strong physical attacks as well, and basically set up around those. You learn this move called Ukko's Hammer on Pippin. You've got Flame Assault for Fang, which is already really strong, and then Ethel has Freezing Meteor, which is really strong as well. What are you doing with those Furies?
It says a note to say give
Dia.
all a fairy.
Yeah, so it's Dia for Pippin, because that's the one that matches her element,
I'm just gonna.
or his element.
That was lagging too much, so I'm just gonna stop wasting that time.
Whatever, we'll deal with it. Now you just gotta get rid of everyone apart from Fang, Ethel, and Pippin.
Switch.
Oh yeah, Harley with Pippin, remove Harley, Tiara and Galdo, and then move.
Oh shit.
Remove them.
What did I just do? I didn't mean to
You
do
swap them with each other, but it's fine. Because you're removing both of them anyway.
that. Okay. I don't know how to. Okay, there it is. I know how
What
to.
are you
now. I'm messing up the controls because the controls on this fucking game suck.
Alright, so we want Pippin there, Ethel in the other corner, Fang where he is, and get rid of the other two. Get rid of them. Oh, she just got rid of Ethel, damn it. What are we doing?
We'll just put Ethel back. How do I do that?
Swap out Galdo. It should just be A for swap, I think. Yeah.
There we go.
And then remove Galdo. Remove Galdo.
I didn't?
He's still in.
Oh
He's
my
still
God.
in.
I swear.
You're still fine. So this is what we call switch menus. They are fun.
I'll fight. I'll do my best. Here we go!
But this is also what we call Ethel and Freezing Meteor. And wow, she actually managed to not kill all of them. Although it might be because you don't have the right Furies on. But normally they just get yeeted immediately. Anyway, so one more visit to Godly Revival because lag is fun. And now damage times 2, even though this dungeon automatically reveals itself, we still need damage times 2 for it. Then we have to fight these 3 stooges,
Kill them
who were
all.
3 separate fights in the first timeline, but they make you fight them all at once now, because why not? They all die pretty quickly to just Pippin plus Evil. Fang doesn't even have to contribute. Fang will get to use Explosion once more, but not until near the end. Not that we're very far away from the end right now, but still a few more dungeons to go. Whereas Fang will only get to use Explosion again in the very final dungeon, as far as I remember. Now, the boss fight was at the start of this dungeon, but we still have to make it through to the end to progress the story. There won't be another boss fight though.
You know, as much of a train wreck as this is, it still could be a lot worse, which is sad.
This switch is on fire after all, as we've established in chat many times already.
Yep. Now this is a dungeon where the fuzziness and the lighting collide in a bad way. It's just not good for the eyes.
Okay, so to reiterate on the CPU thing, we kind of had a massive emote spam war the last few HDN marathons, and people finally got sick of it last year, so this year we've simplified it drastically to just do the CPU command, and it's just the original 4 CPUs again.
Don't let
It's
your
possible
guard
that we
down.
might
I'll do my best.
open it up again a bit more
Here we go!
in future iterations, but for now, it's just how it is. In any case, so Mariana here. This first phase you don't actually have to win, you can stall it out for a certain amount of turns, but you
I
can
forget about
just
that
win it as well.
My turn.
Like, generally I decide to win it, but...
Get ready.
in
No,
any
what a
event,
character
also
to get
just
confused. It's okay though.
stall it like he did there.
My turn. Yeah,
Keep going.
Hey,
my turn.
Fang, stop.
Also, the current champion of the CPU war from last year is Noir, so you guys need to dethrone her. Although I would prefer it to be Neptune and not Blanc, of course, but we can't have everything.
Gotta make
As
it
long as
blind,
Noir
guys.
doesn't win. Okay, so tower number 2. This is pretty much the same as Subterranean Tower, except it goes the other way up. It's a tower that actually goes up instead of down, but for some reason they call it inverted, because it goes up.
Hey, in this universe, up is down, down is up, left is right.
A tower that goes up is not the normal.
Nope. You gotta have a 10-story basement. What? You can fall off of that?
Apparently you can, huh?
Whoa! Whoa! Don't do that.
You tried.
Turn left, left, left. No! Oh, what? He just stopped! Okay!
I think you got caught on the rock.
We take those! We take those every day.
Yeah, sometimes the enemy will just stop chasing you and it's generally because they got caught on some weird collision. Yeah, so the new CPU vote, you can still brigade and stuff. And you can still try and launch a comeback, but it's a lot less spammy. Apart from during those 1 or 2 minutes where people realize that they can vote. And then it's still...
If I would have dashed there, I would have had an encounter, so walking was a good move.
And it resets every hour around the hour, it'll tell you when it resets though.
Oh, why'd you turn left? Come on.
And as usual, Versus in last place. Can anyone say they're surprised? The only way that Vert ever makes any progress is when Marin's awake, and I think he's finally gone to sleep.
My turn.
So, Yander and Vote, which again is a bit of a sticking point on any difficulty that isn't amateur. On amateur, these AoE fights just become a complete cakewalk. Because they don't have enough HP to live through more than one turn. Yeah, but Marin's the only one who actually tries to get other people to vote for Vert actively.
When do I sell and start...
Oh, you were meant to do that ages ago.
Yeah, I think I skipped that part of my notes. Whoops.
I mean, it obviously hasn't hurt, but... Yeah, you just want a few supplies for the final dungeon, mainly. And it just happens to be convenient to do it earlier on. I think at this point you can just max out on all of them. Well, not energy crystals, those cost too much, but you just want like 11 of those and then the rest on revival items. Or even just 5, yeah, that works. Then the best or the worst revival item, because all you need to do really is get them up. And there we go. So now, the next fight is Pyga, who is a routing puzzle, a strong routing puzzle on non-amateur, even on amateur if you're not careful. He can wreck your shit. He's most notably known for being the hardest boss in Endeavor's old easy route for this game.
Oh yeah, the OG route. Bernard, or Final Bernard, and freaking Pyga.
Yeah,
Oh, I
guy,
accidentally touched the save, so that was a good thing, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Don't let your guard down.
So if I do die for some reason, I at least touched the save.
Get ready. Let's do this.
Here we go.
So in-game in this route basically becomes spamming the ultimate skills and chaining together those cutscenes that play when an enemy hits low HP. You can even use the ultimate skill twice. It's not only once per battle, as long as you have the health for it you can use it multiple times. So you just spam those on the higher health bosses now. Not so much against this next boss, because this next boss has a very high chance to use an attack that will lock away your Fair Eyes form, and you need to be in Fair Eyes form to use the ultimate skills at all. So in this fight you generally just spam your normal strong skills, but then every other late game fight is mostly based around getting an enemy like half health and then finishing off in one round with all the strongest skills
Don't let your guard down.
before it can do its ultimate attack back at you. This one, yeah, he's just slow, steady, reasonably easy, but slow. And you can do that other kind of confusion attack as well, which isn't quite the same thing as normal confusion because it doesn't make you attack your party members, but it still locks out your turn for a few turns. I'm not sure what the game actually calls it. The one where you attack your party members is actually called confusion, but I'm not sure what the blue one is called. It might be something like stun.
Plan for victory.
Then we have another unwinnable. It's the last unwinnable
My turn. My turn. Ready?
in terms of literally unable to win. There is another fight that will end halfway through, and it's coming up right after this, but you can win that one if you deal enough damage fast enough. Whereas the one just gone was the last actually unwinnable fight.
Alright, coming up is Platformer's Nightmare.
Oh god. I just realized you have to do Platforming Hell on Switch version.
Will it be first try? Second try? Third try? Will I never get it? Put your bets in now,
Might
guys.
try. This is basically the make or break for whether this run will be over or underestimate.
Oh, ho, ho. Okay. I just made
Okay,
a
so
weird
there's
noise.
difficult jumps. I
Oh!
don't say anything.
No, dude! It
Okay, so the
lagged.
difficult jumps are the second jump and the last jump.
Almost first try.
Yeah. And the reason it's difficult is A, the jumps are tight, and B, it's very easy to fall off. There is no koyete time in this game, or if there is, it's very, very minimal. Now, anyone who plays platformers or any kind of game with jumping should know what koyete time is. It's when you walk off the edge of a map, or off the edge of a ledge, you have a couple of extra frames generally to do a jump, and it will still count it as if you're on the ground. And so whenever you play a game that doesn't have it, it feels like you're getting robbed.
Third try. Just like the PB.
And this game does not have koyete time. So the jumps feel really shitty.
Victory.
But anyway, we made it past now, and that's the end of platforming. And we should still be good for underestimate. So, yeah, first phase of Mariana isn't winnable. You do need to knock her down to half health though,
My turn.
which you can generally do in 1 or 2 turns on amateur difficulty. And there you go. So now, second phase.
Not yet.
Go, Aaron.
Here we go.
What?
You were meant to use explosion, dude. That was the last use of explosion in the game.
Oh well.
Too bad now, but
Stay down.
I mean, Mariana's a cakewalk anyway.
Whoa,
because
that was bad lag right there. What?
she basically counts the half health that you took off her on the first phase, and she starts with half the max health she had that time. And now this is the whole reason we bought healing items, is basically for between these fights in the final dungeon. So you heal up everyone and you get rid of the deadweight, aka Galdo.
I'll try to if the game will let me.
You still want to heal everyone though. That would help.
I mean, I have to get there first.
Yeah, so now you should be good on
Oh!
item use almost.
Almost.
My turn.
I was
Almost.
microseconds away from hitting the A button there.
Actually, speaking of water, I'm going to run and go grab water while Endeavor's doing the Bernard fight, because it's not too much of a challenge on amateur. before we need to set up for the next run, so yep, be right back.
My turn.
At least you get to hear this amazing music.
Out of my way!
I'll do my best.
Let's do this.
Here we go!
Let's do this.
My turn. My turn. Next.
I tried.
My turn.
Just in case last second crash.
Yep. Okay, so what? The final boss fight.
Plan for victory.
The first phase is a complete joke. Dies without you doing anything.
I expect.
Here we go! Who's next?
He does take a turn, but it's completely useless because you do so much damage already that he activates its mid-battle cutscene.
Huey?
Oh, I forgot to remove Tiara.
I can do it.
We'll see how it goes. You've got your save point.
Let's go, Huey!
But yeah, so the second phase is so high in stats that you can just die to it. The third phase doesn't really kill you, so you want to heal up.
My turn. My turn.
I healed her anyway.
Well, I mean, you can't get rid of her anyway, so it's fine.
No. I probably didn't need to, is what I meant to say.
Okay, so
Let's do this.
final Vargol Chillin phase is somewhat... does quite a bit of damage still.
Here we go!
But the general plan is to do exactly what we've been doing.
Whoa.
I'm alright.
Use...
Oh, this is not good.
I'm alright.
Oh. Yeah, I think Tiara just screwed you over. You didn't get enough turns. Like, Tiara stole some of the turns. So in the end it did kill you. But we can try again, straight away from that save point.
Mm-hmm. After some loading screen.
So this time we get rid of Tiara.
Plan
And
for
you wanna...
victory. My
in that
turn.
phase where you're just waiting for it to end, you just want to wait 2 turns before you actually heal, because that way he doesn't take another turn. So it's like, he takes the first turn, you wait twice, and then you heal.
Plan for victory.
But yeah, first he kills you, and then there's the healing stall fight.
So defend, defend.
Here we go!
Yeah, defend twice, and then heal everyone, and you get exactly enough turns to do it.
Let's go, Eric.
Plan for victory.
And now you go into the final phase at full health, and this should go a bit better this time, hopefully. You do want to heal in this fight if someone gets hit below like 2500, but should be able to recover it to a certain degree anyways.
I'll do my best. My turn.
And now we can hopefully begin the ultimate move spam and just chain together his cutscenes.
My turn. Here we go!
Time endo.
My fists have
GG!
Whoa, dude. And stuff.
I'm even stronger.
Okay,
power has
congratulations on finishing the run.
Thank you, thank you.
It was a bit of an adventure, but it's over.
It was a heck of a ride.
So we will be heading over to the next run shortly with that 49 person dip.
Thank you.
And the next bet, which we both opened at the same time, that's the Freshers counted, I think, will be, of course, the Defend Request race. It's for when the second person finishes. So get in your bets, everyone. People who are participating may not bet, so me and Endeavor will not be betting. In any case, we will now head over to the intermission screen and we'll be right back with the next run.